Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and welcome back to Unsung Gems, a little series I'm doing in which I talk about games that need a little more love. Today I'm doing games that begin with the letter P, and I will be covering 5 of these games. So, without further to-do, let's go ahead and jump right into them. Alright, first pick for today is a tile-laying game, resource management game, called Pandoria. And Pandoria is kind of a game that takes a lot of ideas you think you might know how they play in this game, right? This concepts you've seen in other things and the way they work. Takes those things and turns them on their head a little bit, which does make the game a little bit counterintuitive, but the gameplay is solid. You are going to be playing tiles out. They are domino shaped, so basically 2 hexes next to each other. You're going to be playing those out. You're going to be putting out your little workers. You are going to be represented by a fantasy character or tribe of characters, and you'll be collecting resources when you complete areas. The main twist there being you're not collecting the resources for the area you are in. When a group of tiles that give you, I don't know, stone or whatever is completed, all the characters around the outside of that group, so basically adjacent to that group, are going to collect as much of that stuff as the size of the group. Being in it is actually bad. You want to be around it. You want to be on the outside of it. There's also cards in the game you can acquire. You can level up and buy cards, stick them onto your little player board, and have special abilities. There's a decent amount going on. As the board builds, certain things get locked out. You can no longer go to these places. You can build your own castles, and your character stays on the castles as opposed to around the board. If an area gets completed with you in it, you get bounced out of there. So, really engaging, interesting tile-laying game. I don't think it's gotten a lot of attention. I like it a lot. It's even had expansion, so it must have done okay. But I would recommend you give it a go if you are a fan of tile-laying games. You enjoy some of these resource management ideas, and you want a game that has a light, fantasy theme, but it's mostly about those rich tactics. My next pick is a game called Pasha, and this is kind of a Yahtzee-style game in which you are going to play a card. Everyone simultaneously plays a card from their hand. The card has a number. It might have an ability on it. Those cards are what the players are going to then, after they roll some dice, be winning. So I could win your card that you put in. If I'm the winner and your card shows 4 points, that's the best card out there. If I'm the winner of the Yahtzee part, I will claim that card. There's a little board in the center of the table, and you are rolling your dice, looking for dice combinations, and then claiming the spot you rolled. So I have 4 of a kind, and they are 5s. So in the 5 column, I go up as high as 4 of a kind, and I put a token there. There's also, throughout the game, each round, these new special little cardboard abilities come out, and they sit on specific spots on this board. And if you land on those, you'll be claiming that ability as well. So again, Yahtzee-esque with a little more happening in it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great family-style game. It's got a good look, nice dice, some nice ornate wooden dice, a simple, sort of flow to the whole thing. But it's not completely autonomous. You will have to think about what you want to do. Sometimes you change the plan depending on how things are going. You might target those special abilities, or you might target a different thing depending on what card you want to play. It's an interesting game. Certainly not going to set the world on fire. It's very light, but as an off the beaten path, dice-driven game that you can teach to anybody, especially somebody who knows Yahtzee already, very good pick. Sticking with very simple games, my next one is a little card game called Pearls. That is a very straightforward set collection game. You're going to have a hand of cards. You have, I think it's 6 revealed cards on the table, and on your turn you either take some. If you choose to take a kind of card, say the ones that are red and have a 1 on them, you have to take them all if there are multiples. And you have a very hard hand limit. So if it would put you above your hand limit, you cannot take those. Or you can score. So you take or you score. That's it. When you score them, you can play as many as you want that are all identical. And you will put them in your score pile. I play 6 1s. I score all 6 of those cards, I'll have 6 points. But those cards are obviously not as good as, say, like 5s. There's 5s in the deck. But if you play a big set, you will score these bonus necklaces that are going to give you bonus points as well. Very clean, simple, little straightforward game. All about that hand management, being careful that your hand isn't full up. When some other player reveals something fantastic that you would love to take but can't now because your hand is filled, right? So it's that push and pull against that hard limit. It feels very much like, if you're familiar with this game, Jaipur. Jaipur is a similar idea, but only for 2 players with, a very cute theme and illustrations. This is sort of simpler, multiplayer Jaipur. Works at 2 just fine, in fact, but you can go above that. And I really like this one. It's a great little sort of pocket game. You can throw this down on the table and play with just about anybody. If they can play Uno, if they can play any card game pretty much, they can play this. And it has an interesting, very quick flow to it. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a fantastic sort of icebreaker kind of game to get people into an evening of gaming. So there you go. That is Pearls. Next up, we are visiting the sphere of gaming that is influenced and informed by Clue and games like that. This is a game called Perfect Alibi, and in it you are trying to figure out a whodunit, right? The main thing about this one, and it feels like Sleuth as well if you know that game, is that every player has partial information, yes, but every player, or every character I should say, because the characters it's possible they'll change. Every character has a special ability. So one player can listen in on information that one person at the table is passing to another one that should normally be secret. Maybe my special ability lets me look at that. Or I can lie to someone about something. Or I can whatever. There's a few characters in there and they all have a special, unique ability. So that's the main crux of the game. It is not a particularly crunchy deduction game. I think it's a fairly light one, not Clue light, but not as brain crushing as some deduction games out there. But it's got a lot of personality, and with those characters with special abilities, then it's got a lot of interesting moments as well where you can flex your character's muscles and manage to do something that nobody else right now around the table could possibly do. So I really like that combination. I like the deduction of it. I like, solving a puzzle, figuring out who murdered someone at what time, that sort of thing. But with some nice flavoring on top of it. So Perfect Alibi, if you are a fan of deduction games and you have not checked this one out, I think you should go ahead and find a copy and give it a go because it's a neat one. It stands out from the pack. And my last pick for today is the tiniest game of the bunch. Yes, even slightly smaller than Pearls, but there's a lot more game in there. This is a little game called Pocket Rockets. And it blows my mind that this game has not been republished in a bigger format, which would benefit the game, to be fair. In it, you are going to be moving around a circle made of cards with your little token. And each of these spots, I believe there are 6 around a circle, you can take new cards which represent parts of rockets, either the tail fin, the body of the rocket, or the cone at the top. You can take these cards, you'll be able to play these cards and build rockets. Having sort of bigger rockets is going to give you tokens as well. You are launching these things and scoring them. You are changing the order in which you can move around this circle. Normally, you can only go one way. There's a few different things like that. And then the cones of the rockets sometimes have a special ability, which allow you to, they might just give you more points, but they might allow you to bend some rule in the game a specific way. There's a lot of, this game is not, a mind-blowing, heavy Euro game type of experience, but it is surprising to me how much gameplay is in this tiny little box. And yet, I'm pretty sure it's very out of print, and I don't understand why. I don't understand how this has not been taken from its ridiculously tiny format and been given normal-sized cards, a little board for the center, nicer pawns, something that has stepped it up to be, something that will stand out on a shelf a little bit more. Pocket Rockets is incredibly and criminally underloved and underappreciated, and I really like it. This is one I could not see myself getting rid of from my collection. So there you go. And that's going to do it, everybody, for me. Those are my 5 picks that begin with the letter P. There are quite a few that I considered putting on this list. This is a rich letter for me. So let me know in the comments below if you've got some games that begin with the letter P that you think deserve a little more love, a little more attention, and hopefully you can help some folks out there discover new games as well. All right, everybody, my name is Zee Garcia. I'm going to see you on the next one.